So surprised of late to learn that actually he's not a member of that political party. So I do not know the word comrade where it came from when the minister said he was a comrade, because it means the minister invited a person who's got no political standing.
The 6 activists from the global summit flotilla have arrived at the OR Tambo International Airport after days of capture by Israeli forces. The group was part of activists from around the globe who had set out to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza. This week, the group was released and flew back to South Africa from Jordan. Modise reports.
The 6 activists from the global summit flotilla have walked into a packed arrivals terminal with big and small Palestinian flags being waved in the air. As they walked through the doors, the crowd erupted in cheers, with loved ones rushing to hold the activists in a long embrace. The grandson of Nelson Mandela, Mandla, who was one of the detainees, has addressed the media, becoming emotional as he recalled the events of the last week.
Let me also acknowledge our donors. Many of us have no resources to see this work through. Yet, with the support of our donors, we were able, as South Africa, to have a boat.
Despite being held hostage and being tortured by Israeli forces, the group remains defiant and adamant to continue supporting the plight of the Palestinians. Modise, Eyewitness News at the OR Tambo International Airport.
To the courts now, the Murimule Regional Court in Limpopo has not been able to find a new Oshivambo interpreter in the Palapala burglary case. Oshivambo is an official Namibian language and is the home language of the 3 accused in this matter. Emmanuela David, along with siblings Froliana and Ndilinasho Joseph, are accused of stealing $580,000 in cash from President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm in 2020. On Monday, proceedings were cut short after the accused raised concerns over the poor quality of the court interpreter. When the matter resumed today, State Prosecutor Ngedeni Munyai told the court that the new interpreter was still on their way. The matter is, however, proceeding, focusing solely on the money laundering charge that only applies to accused number 1, Emmanuela David, who has waived his right to an interpreter. To this now, Basic Education Minister Sivue Gwahube has confirmed that as from this morning, education and general school assistants have been paid. In a joint press briefing with the Employment and Labour Department in Pretoria, she addressed some of the resolutions taken to deal with the payment issue. Thousands of assistants across the country had been waiting for their September stipends, which were delayed due to admin issues. Gwahube says after lengthy 2-day meetings, candidates have begun receiving their money.
I can confirm that as of 10 a.m. this morning, payments have started flowing from the Industrial Development Corporation to our education assistants. This is a massive relief to thousands of young people who have been waiting for what is due to them. This delay should have never happened, and we will work tirelessly to ensure that it is avoided in the future.
And in the Western Cape, a wildfire that has been raging in Mossel Bay has been contained. Crews were able to suppress overnight hotspots. Garden Route District Municipality Fire Chief Officer Dion Stoffels.
The fire is contained. Crews managed to suppress all accessible hotspots throughout the night. The perimeter of the fire will, however, be patrolled and verified throughout the course of the morning into the afternoon. And on site is Garden Route District Municipality Fire and Rescue Services.
At the same time, the Winelands District Municipality has reiterated fire prevention is both a municipal and community effort. The municipality has urged landowners to prepare their properties for the drier months. The district fire chief, Wayne Josiah, says fires often start from human negligence through improper cigarette disposal and not extinguishing campfires.
By working together, we can significantly reduce the risk and keep our communities safe. Now is the best time to implement some fire prevention measures before the veld fire season. Landowners are encouraged to remove dry leaves, debris and other flammable materials from roofs, gutters within 15 to 20 meters from their homes.
Gold is trading at $4,036.77 an ounce. The rand is at 17.18 to the dollar, 23.04 to the pound, 19.95 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $65.45 a barrel.
Well, at this hour in Isando, Kempton Park area, heading towards OR Tambo International Airport, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the R24 eastbound approaching Barbara Road due to an earlier accident scene. There's also slow-moving traffic in the mother city. This is on the Dutoit Kloof Pass. This is heading towards the Huguenot Tunnel. Just keep in mind also that the Huguenot Tunnel is closed off to traffic.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with isolated showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 30 degrees, while Cape Town is fine with a fresh southerly wind at a high of 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says the access that alleged underworld crime boss Brown Mokgotsi has had to police information is infiltration at its highest.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, General Mkhwanazi drops bombs at the parliamentary ad hoc inquiry. The police minister, acting police minister, is also in parliament to discuss gangsterism in the Western Cape. The Phala trials delayed because of no translator. We'll look at the state of the provincial government of unity in KZN, and the education minister speaks to us about stipend payments. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Great to be with you today. Of course, so much focus on what is happening in Parliament today. General Mkhwanazi on the stand. It's day 2 of the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee probing corruption, and he's really saying it straight. In fact, he even said himself, I am a straight talker, and he's been laying it all out. He's been speaking particularly about Senzo Mchunu, the actual police minister. My headline referred to the acting police minister. The police minister, Senzo Mkhwanazi, says he strongly believes that Mchunu did not author the letter to disband the political killings task team, but he signed it. He's been speaking about the role that people like Brown Mokgotsi, you heard in the news bulletin there, about how he knew so much and how this was really, really capture. So if you've been following all morning, let me know your thoughts about what's been happening there. Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702, 072 567 1567. But let's go to our reporter, Babalo Ndenze, who is following that procedure for us. Babalo, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Tell us about proceedings there. What is happening?
Yes, indeed, Mandy. A smooth start this morning, unlike yesterday. The recusal discussion, which carried over from last night, continued this morning, but only for a few minutes. The DA or members of the ANC and MK Party and EFF really wanting Diane Kohler Barnard to be recused because she's been named by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi for mishandling classified information. But that issue didn't last for long, and they got into the questioning. The MPs got into questioning Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, about basically his evidence from the 6th of July press conference, as well as yesterday's evidence that he presented to the committee. He was asked first up by the ANC's Gola Ngola, who chairs the Chief Justice Committee. Each member is getting 30 minutes each to put questions to him. And Ngola basically asked him about safety. Mkhwanazi saying that that the police force is basically responsible for his family's safety. He's got family members across the country, but he can't afford bodyguards, so the police are doing security for him. And he says that it's the men in blue that are basically protecting him during this ordeal or this moment. He was also asked about rogue members of IDAC and how magistrates, and how the destabilization of intelligence has happened over the years. The MK putting questions to him about General Sibia, as well as Brown Mokgotsi attending intelligence briefings and police meetings, and how certain magistrates that granted bail to Senzo Meyiwa took questionable decisions in a number of high-profile cases. He also says Minister Senzo Mchunu is not ethical for his relationship with Brown Mahotsi. And he also gave, some examples of how, or the levels of infiltration of organized crime or crime syndicates in in the entire criminal justice system, not just the police and not just the magistrates court or the court system, but also in correctional services, and how these tentacles extended as far as prisons in the country, even the high security prisons. So just take a listen to what else he said, Mandy.
We are still trying to figure out how does Thabo Bester get out of prison and he'll end up in a foreign country. This is a typical example of how bad the system is within the correctional service. We've got a lot of examples on how crime is organized behind bars, how people get killed by people that are behind bars, that get released to go out and murder someone and come back into a correctional facility. So what we cited as an example when we made our presentation is that here is one of the big fives, Mr. Matlala, is arrested and is detained at the maximum prison of our country in Pretoria, Kgosimampuru, but is caught with a cell phone inside that facility. So that cell phone for sure was not dropped from the sky to get into the courtyard for him to get it.
Brilliant turn of phrase there. Babalo, so as you've mentioned and as I've been watching, there's now questions. So the different members of the ad hoc committee have been asking questions. What is the tone like? What kind of a ride is Mkhwanazi getting? Are they sympathetic to him? Are some sympathetic? Are they hostile? What kind of ride is he getting?
I mean, he hasn't received a hostile reception as yet. They've all been sympathetic to him. The ANC has been asking him, questions that are easily answerable. They're not trying to catch him out on anything. The MK Party's member, even calling him by his clan name, calling him by his clan name, just to make him a bit more comfortable during the questioning. So members are really having quite sympathetic to him. They went as far as praising him and commending him. The MK Party member saying that, he's asking these questions on behalf of South Africans that are behind Mkhwanazi, that support Mkhwanazi and what he's done. So he's received quite a warm reception from members. There might be differences in the afternoon on other parties that aren't too sympathetic to him. For example, the DA has members that are implicated by Mkhwanazi in his evidence to the committee. So they might be less, sympathetic to him when their turn comes to ask questions, as well as the EFF. The EFF doesn't agree with everything that's been said. I can see there are still members that are also accused by Mkhwanazi, also present in the meeting, but they're not members of the committee, like Fadil Adams, for example, is also here. So we might see later in the questioning of Mkhwanazi, later in today, or maybe into the early evening. I think it might stretch into the evening like it did last night, where he'll be receiving tougher questions from members. But at the moment, it's all been smooth sailing for him, Mandy.
Babalo, thank you very much. Babalo Ndenze, EWN parliamentary reporter on that ad hoc committee. Well, let's listen in live now to General Mkhwanazi responding to questions. And this feed is courtesy of Newsroom Africa.
The member of this house, together with others, they publish the photos of that house in the media. So therefore, their working place is compromised. The members that are operating the driving vehicles, those vehicles have been exposed in public. And I believe in some degree, maybe even the names of the members might be known. And their safety for me is a concern. The safety of the members that are working in Gauteng, they can't go home. If they go home, they go with the entire delegation of police officers protecting them. So their life is disrupted. And their families, I don't think they are protected either. So it is that group in Gauteng. I spoke about 2 sergeants yesterday. There are other junior members that have joined in that are working with them now because the team has grown bigger, together with the 10 that came from KZN. So it's quite a lot of them that are part of that operation. It's those members that I worry more than I worry about the PKTT, because PKTT is in KZN. Yeah, well, at least they have me and the rest of men and women employed in KZN. They should be safe. I cannot guarantee the Gauteng team the same.
Who's in charge of the Gauteng one, and what has he done?
The Gauteng one is General Khumalo that is currently arrested. The one is told he must not enter premises of intelligence.
So currently nobody is in charge of them?
Well, I think the members are trying to operate from wherever they're operating from, because they have been compromised wherever they want to work. Now, within crime intelligence, they cannot operate because what they are trying to deal with involves members within crime intelligence, and the boss of crime intelligence was told by court not to enter the premises, so that they become vulnerable, those members.
If I may interject, the member you speak about who was taking out photos and stuff like that, are you able to tell us the name? Who's that member? Because I think that's the worst the member can do and put.
Yeah, well, the member of this parliament, Ms. Korabana, published the photos of the house. Some of the properties as members are working from in her media statement that she issued. I'll reference to it if I see it here, but it's in the public domain, it's known, and she published that. So here's the address, here's the house, and here's this, here's that. They got that information from members within intelligence that were against the work that the team is doing, and they
just a sense of the infighting going on and the factionalism within the police and crime intelligence. General Mkhwanazi there answering questions from a member of the ad hoc committee from the MK party. We'll keep following that for you. But at the same time, also in Parliament today, the acting police commissioner, Feroz Kacharia, and the Western Cape Provincial Police Commissioner, Thembisile Patekile, they're briefing the Select Committee on Security and Justice on the police strategy to combat gangsterism and extortion in the Western Cape. Lindsay Dentlinger is following that story for us. Lindsay, good afternoon to you. Thanks for your time. Tell us about what exactly the acting police minister and the provincial commissioner are talking about today.
Well, we're actually missing that as I speak to you now, Mandy. He's just answering questions on this plan that is being presented to, I'm afraid to say, a very poorly attended meeting. Only 4 out of 14 members in this committee actually present in the room. 5 present in the room to get this briefing from the minister. And it's really a follow-up from his recent visit here to the Western Cape in terms of what he plans to do to deal with gangsterism. Of course, he is telling the committee that for obvious reasons he cannot share the nitty-gritty of a plan in a public forum like this. But as I left the room, he was telling MPs that this is a fully funded plan. He has not said how much it would cost, but did say that this money was coming from the Kara Fund and that it would be properly resourced, and a large part that would drive this particular plan would be intelligence, which he says up until now has been sorely lacking in dealing with gangsterism and the knock-on effect it's having on extortion in the Western Cape, and also, Mandy, bringing in police officers from other parts of the country to bolster boots on the ground here in the Western Cape. But of course, the police minister is saying the problem here in the Western Cape requires facing uncomfortable truths about the social structure, about the poverty levels and the unemployment levels in several communities across the Cape Flats, and that this plan would really require the buy-in of communities to assist police, because they're just seeing too many incidents where communities are actually actively fighting against the police in trying to combat this problem. But just let's take a listen to a little bit of what the minister said to the
These
committee.
are deeply rooted problems. They reflect, in the first place, a social crisis which requires the intervention of all levels of government, national, provincial, and local, and many departments in the social justice cluster. And I have to say that alignment across government, as you all know, honourable members of the NSOP, is very difficult to achieve. But that is what is going to be required.
The acting police commissioner, Feroz Kacharia, speaking there about the plan, answering questions at the moment, as Lindsay said there, about the plan to deal with gangsterism and extortion in the Western Cape. I do look forward to hearing the details of that plan, because we know it's an escalating crisis. The provincial commissioner, Thembisile Patekile, also briefing the select committee. So while the police ad hoc inquiry is underway in Parliament, the acting police minister also in Parliament. So a big focus there for us today.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Good day, Mandy. Mandy, just a quick one. Please explain. So Julia says there's no law that he can take an oath on the same statement. Is there a law preventing him to give the same statement? If there's no law preventing him from giving the same statement because it's the same topic, it does not make sense to want a new statement on the same topic. unless he's just being special, Juju as usual. Please explain, Mandy.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
At Anglo American, we mine more than minerals. We mine possibility and progress with purpose. For over a century, we have been part of South Africa's story, investing in our country's potential and unlocking opportunities together. This year alone, through our Kumba Iron Ore business, we've invested 25.9 billion rand into South Africa. This includes infrastructure development, education and healthcare, community upliftment, and more. Follow us on our social media channels, Anglo American South Africa, and join the conversation. Anglo American, mining potential, building beyond.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car on the way to the hospital, carrying an elderly couple, playfully bantering about who their first grandchild will look like.
Not your business.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's bringing two generations together. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
In the team, when you speak to the Minister of Basic Education, please ask her why can't they hire qualified school teachers? Because they are unemployed school teachers. Unfortunately, we are told that there is no budget, but there is a budget to hire school teachers assistants. What are they assisting in public schools where there are no even proper sanitation? David.
Mandy. The last part I come yesterday, last night actually. Or one idea around doing half quarter to 10 somewhere there. The last one I got take from the parliament. No one answered. I was expecting Malema is going to argue about the foreigners when he said Mukwanazirna. If you remember earlier on, 94 was a penny. The population was low. That's what the policy also was low. So now the population is up, increase. Also the foreigners. I was expecting Malema is going to go to arguing about that foreigners who stay in South Africa illegally.
Thank you for those WhatsApp voice notes. Yeah, I wonder if Mkwanazi is going to get a bit of a rougher ride. That's why I asked Babalo that question, and it does seem as though they're all being quite sympathetic to him. I wonder if there's going to be a bit of argy-bargy and anyone pushing back really hard against him. Although he's such a he's a bit of a wall. The way that he responds so sternly and firmly and with clarity. So I do wonder whether or not that's going to get a bit more tetchy as it gets a bit later on. So we will keep watching that for you. Keep sending WhatsApp voice notes, but let's have a look at what else is happening. And we're in the courts as well. The Phala Phala trial was due to resume today. Remember, there was this issue over the translator, the interpreter. They needed an Oshivambo interpreter and they couldn't find one. So let's see what's happening in the Modimolle Regional Court in Limpopo. Tabiso Goba is there. Tabiso, good afternoon to you. Did they find an interpreter?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, so far they haven't found one yet. We've been told that he or she is still on their way to Limpopo. We just adjourned now for a short while. We were told that the interpreter could be in Johannesburg. So we're not really sure what's going to happen now. As I said, I think, Mandy, I said on Monday that there's not that many Oshivambo interpreters in South Africa. So we did understand that it was going to be obviously a bit of a difficult mission to actually find one. But what has happened, Mandy, is that one of the accused, you do know that's accused number one, the alleged mastermind behind this, he's also charged with money laundering because allegedly when they stole the money, the US dollars from Ramaphosa's farm, he actually laundered the money and actually used it to buy stuff. So he's waived his rights to an Oshivambo interpreter. So for today, they're only just dealing with the money laundering parts. And one of the witnesses who's come forward today is a dentist jeweler. Now, this dentist jeweler, Mandy, told the court that Emanuela David, accused number one, came to him and bought grills for 253,000 rands. So grills, Mandy, are sort of those expensive
So what
removable.
is a dentist jeweler?
Yeah, a dentist jeweler, Mandy, is a dentist. He's a real dentist, but he sells dental jewelry. So one of those dental jewelry that he sells are grills. It's one you usually see rappers wearing them. They're very expensive. So Emanuela David contacted him and said he wanted jewelry grills for about 253,000 rand, and he sold those grills to Emanuela David. But he also obviously testified around how they met back in 2021, February 2021, and this is what he had to say around his interactions with accused number one, Emanuela David.
Yes, so my jewelry company, when people want specific jewelry items, they will reach out to me, in this case from the jewelry platform, which is on Instagram. They will message me and say, I would like to purchase this. I will give a general quotation. Once that's accepted, then they will pay a deposit and come through to my clinic to see me. In this specific instance, Mr. Atileni said that he wants to buy something called grills. Grills is dental jewelry. And we spoke a bit back and forth about which design he would like. I gave him a quote, he made his deposit, and then he came through to my clinic for his first consultation. Now on the dentistry side, check his teeth, do a cleaning, meet the client, patient, and take the reference molds that I need to take to actually make the grill.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a whole thing, this dentist jewelry thing. Fascinating. I've just learned something today. Thank you very much for that. There were also other witnesses from the car dealership where Emanuela bought the cars using the US dollars. What have they been saying?
Yes, because remember, we're still under money laundering in terms of we're just getting an idea of how he actually spent the money that he allegedly stole from President Cyril Ramaphosa's farm. So it was interesting today, Mandy, that the person who was testifying was the salesperson. So we've had the sales manager who assisted Emanuela with buying the cars. So today was actually the salesperson who first met Emanuela David when he came to the dealership. And one of the interesting things that sort of came out, Mandy, you know, when you buy a car, there are those pictures that you take. In front of the car, there's a ribbon and everything. Now, that picture that the salesman took, it wasn't a picture of Emanuela David. It was someone else, which obviously the defense tried, pushed a lot on this, saying that, you didn't take a picture with Emanuela David, you took a picture with someone else. Could it be that it wasn't Emanuela David who brought the dollars to the car dealership, and it was actually the picture that you took? It was actually the person that you took the picture with. The salesperson, for his testimony, he said that he was completely out of the loop. It was the higher ups, it was the bosses and the managers who were handling everything. He was just told to just deliver the car. He took a picture with the person. That person was not Emanuela David, and so he doesn't know who actually who the person in the picture was. How did they pay for the car? He was just doing what he was told by his bosses. So that's where we are so far, Mandy.
Tabiso, thank you so much. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter in the Pala Pala matter. Hey guys, I didn't know that a dentist jeweler is the word. I didn't know it was like a whole thing. I know people buy grills, and I didn't know you could be a dentist jeweler. I'm now going to have to go investigate all of this. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says the access which alleged underworld crime boss Brown Mokhotsi has had to police information is infiltration at its highest. Mkhwanazi says this violates the protection of all South African citizens. He has been giving evidence today to Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is investigating allegations of police corruption. The 6 activists from the global Summit flotilla have arrived at the OR Tambo International Airport after days of capture by Israeli forces. The group was part of activists from around the globe who had set out to deliver aid to war-stricken Gaza. This week, the group was released and flew back to South Africa from Jordan. And reappointed Joburg Transport MMC Kenny Kunene says he intends to pick up where he left off following his return to government. Kunene resigned earlier this year after he was found at the home of Katiso KT Molefe, an alleged underworld figure accused of orchestrating the murder of Upasifoka, better known as DJ Sambodi. He was recently reinstated after an investigation initiated by the Patriotic Alliance cleared him of any wrongdoing. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagele Mganga. Amachita will be looking to reach the quarterfinals of an Under-20 World Cup for the first time in their history. That's when they take on Colombia this evening. The current generation has now matched the best ever showing by an Under-20 side by advancing to the last 16, while Tabang Mahlongu is confident in his side's ability to go even further.
No, it's been amazing, seeing such lights, such fans, such stadiums, quality pitches, the environment as well. Yeah, it's been amazing. And now I reflect from where I come from, the dusty grounds of Everton North and all that. So this has been a very important and a very special and a beautiful journey. And I think we're going to go further in the tournament. So I'm really happy.
Rugby's leading nations have united to announce a blanket ban on playing international matches for players who want to sign up for the Pros Breakaway 360 League. England, New Zealand, Ireland and France are among those who are currently either in favour of exclusively picking players from their domestic competitions. However, Scotland, Australia, South Africa and Italy, all of whom would regularly pick players from foreign clubs for their national sides, have now joined them in ruling out selecting R360 players. And in cricket, Australia are yet to make a decision on Pat Cummins' participations at the Ashes. That's amid reports that their captain could miss the series. Local media reports claim that he will miss the first test on the 21st of November and is doubtful for the whole series as fresh scans have shown a back stress problem has not yet healed. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour, if you're heading to Benoni, that's leaving Brakpan. There's slow-moving traffic on Rangeview Road. This is between Dube and Tom Jones. If you're heading towards OR Tambo International Airport, there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on the R24 eastbound, approaching Barbara Road. If you're heading towards Alexander, that's leaving Bedford View, slow-moving traffic. N3 northbound between the Gululis Interchange and Modderfontein Road. Also traveling through the Joburg CBD, traffic is a bit sluggish. This is on the M1 southbound between the double-decker section and the Crown Interchange. Also, if you are heading towards Midrand, that's leaving the Alex area. There's roadworks slowing down traffic in the Calvin area. This is on the N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Buccleuch Interchange. In the Mother City, just keep in mind the Huguenot Tunnel remains closed off to traffic. This is due to roadworks, and there's also slow-moving traffic. This is on Detroit Pass route approaching the R101. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The stage, the lights, the crowd, everything's perfect until suddenly someone slips on the dance floor. A speaker lands in the buffet. In an instant, your masterpiece is a mess. That's why Auto & General is there with Events Liability Insurance. We handle the unexpected so you don't have to. Plan the party, wow the guests, leave the rest to us. For more information on Events Liability Insurance, visit autogen.co.za. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Medical care, like music, needs continuity, a steady rhythm and pattern. Patients attended to on time, medication taken as prescribed. Cut the rhythm and it falls apart. Right now, global funding cuts are restricting access to healthcare. With your support, Doctors Without Borders can continue to provide medical care to communities worldwide. Because medicine, like music, only works when uninterrupted. Doctors Without Borders. We go there.
Small businesses are anything but small. They're the backbone of our communities, the dreamers, the doers, the ones who keep Mzansi moving forward. That's why 702 and Capitec Business Banking are putting them in the spotlight. Every Thursday between 6 and 8 p.m., catch Small Business Focus with Capitec, where we showcase the hustle, heart, and the secrets to thriving in today's economy. Your vision matters, and with Capitec, you're never building it alone. Small Business Focus with Capitec, the business bank for everyone. Thursdays between 6 and 8 p.m. on 702. Capitec Bank is an authorized FSP 46669.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good day, Mandy. You know, the Pala Pala case is really making a mockery of our legal system. I mean, the very same guy who was able to go buy so many cars, and with money stolen, and is able to go and get a dentist jeweler to install teeth. Why can't they ask the salesman and the dentist what level of English was this guy speaking if now conveniently he wants an interpreter?
Hi Mandy. My sister graduated from University of South Africa for a teaching degree. She went for an interview in the West Rand. They were asked to bring a bribe of 25,000 rand to get a job.
25,000. Where would she find 25,000? That's crazy. And unfortunately, when you have this kind of systemic corruption, where it's so acceptable, it would seem, is the real worry. Quite a few messages coming through on the WhatsApp line. Hi, Mandy. Once again, the FIC has let us down. How can one buy a car with foreign currency without it being reported by either the bank or the car sales shop? What is their function? They also let the Guptas get away. Jenny sending through that message. Thank you very much for all of those messages. JD saying, so we're going to pay the interpreter. We are a banana republic straight. In other countries, there is no such, especially in Africa. All of those reactions there to the Pala Pala matter.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
12:38 on the Midday Report. So Kenny Kunene is back again as the MMC for Transport in the city of Joburg. He's visiting Diepkloof as part of a service delivery program. So it's the first appointment he's doing since he's been reappointed. Alpha Ramashwana, EWN reporter, joining him there. Alpha, good afternoon to you. Thank you for your time. Have you been able to have a chat with Kenny Kunene? What's he saying about being back in the job?
Good afternoon, Mandy. Yes, like you said, Kenny Kunene is back on the job, and this is the first program that he's doing since he was reinstated as the MMC for Transport in the city of Johannesburg earlier this week. And the first program he did was to launch a program to fix roads, to fix potholes in Diepkloof in Soweto, and he's been doing that this afternoon. So we had a chat with Kenny Kunene about a number of things, of course, including the, what they call an independent report, which cleared him of any wrongdoing, which was initiated by the Patriotic Alliance. And he says that he has been vindicated and has no links to alleged underworld figure Katiso K.T. Molefe, who is accused of orchestrating the murder of DJ Somebody. And he says the investigation proved that Kunene was innocent. Remember, Mandy, he had claimed that he was at Molefe's home to accompany a journalist from his private media house for an exclusive interview, and he still stands by that. We've also spoken to him about next year's local government elections. Gayton Mackenzie recently announced Kenny Kunene on a Facebook live video announcing Kenny Kunene as the PA's mayoral candidate for Johannesburg, and he believes that the PA is going to win big at next year's local government elections. You would remember that a number of by-elections that happened in places like El Dorado Park a few months ago, the PA has been emerging victorious, snatching certain wards from the DA. And Kunene says based on that, he does believe that he stands a good chance as the mayoral candidate of Johannesburg for the Patriotic Alliance. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about that.
Young people were stopping me at corners and saying, we are going to vote for you as mayor. One thing about me is I tell the truth. I don't spin anything. And they accept that my truth has been confirmed. So there's no problem. Public image is proper, it's intact.
The DA is bringing Helen Zille, someone with experience in politics. How do you feel? Do you not think...
What experience? She does not even have a house yet. She's still looking to rent. Where is she renting? So how is she going to deal with the issues of Johannesburg when she does not know them?
Alpha, what else has Kenny Kunene been saying about being back in his job and getting the work done of dealing with potholes and taxis and all sorts of other issues?
So he does sort of kind of feel that over the past 3 months when he was away from the job since his resignation in July, that certain programs weren't being implemented or pushed. You'd remember that there was no transport MMC during his time off, and Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero was acting in the position, and he does feel that there were certain programs that were let go of, also because the mayor may have too much on his plate and he couldn't properly deal with everything in the transport department. So Kenny Kunene says he's back and it's time to get back to the job. He's promising that there's going to be change in Johannesburg. Let's take a listen to how he feels about being back on the job.
I am back.
Sorry, I was too busy laughing. Kenny Kunene, Alpha, thank you. Thank you very much. That was excellent. Alpha Ramashwana, EWN reporter, speaking to us there about the reappointed Johannesburg MMC for transport. Only Kenny Kunene could get away with that, and probably Gaten McKenzie. I'm back. Yeah, Kenny Kunene is back. He's the Patriotic Alliance mayoral candidate for Johannesburg. He's in Diepkloof as part of a service delivery program. Oh, Joburg is going to be... It's going to be fun to watch. And I can't wait to see who the ANC is going to put up. They cannot possibly think it's okay to put Dada Morero up against Helen Zille and Kenny Kunene. They have to be clever about their candidate. Who do you think the ANC should be putting up as the Joburg candidate for mayor?
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
Well, let's go to KwaZulu-Natal now, because the government of provincial unity in KZN teetering a bit. The ANC Youth League in the province wants the ANC to not be in a government of provincial unity. Speaking out about all kinds of developments today, Nhlanhla Mabaso, EWN reporter at that briefing. Nhlanhla, good afternoon to you. What has the ANC Youth League been saying at this briefing?
Well, Mandy, they've raised quite a lot of issues around recent developments, including, I think, one that you would have seen on social media of very well-known influencer in KwaZulu-Natal, Gizwe Mkhulu, who has been making rather very homophobic comments after a circulating picture of a gay couple that got married while wearing the Zulu and the Xhosa traditional attire. He's been on rampage, going about how much this is not allowed and what's not. The ANC Youth League in the province says, well, they disagree with him to that effect and in fact have condemned some of his utterances. But mainly, this briefing mainly focused on the fact that the ANC Youth League is calling on the ANC in the province to withdraw from the government of provincial unity. You would know that after the 2024 general polls, no party, in fact, your book also clearly states it very well, that no party, especially in KwaZulu-Natal, got the majority. So we have a coalition government known as the Government of Provincial Unity, IFP, ANC, DA, and NFP. The ANC says their MECs, being MEC Siboniso Duma for Transport and Human Settlements, Noma Kukusimelane Mngadi for Health, and as well as Sipho Shomuka for Education, are being targeted by the Department of, by the Finance Department, rather, Finance MEC Francois Roches, but they're also blaming the IFP. They're saying this arrangement seems to be working for the DA and the IFP and not the ANC, and therefore, as the Youth League, they believe that the ANC should withdraw its participation from this government of provincial unity.
Nkandla, what were some of the other issues raised by the ANC Youth League in terms of some other issues that they were looking at?
Well, the issue of unemployment, they say they're very concerned that KwaZulu-Natal also, has a huge percentage from the national crisis. As you would know, many that the issue of unemployment is very big in the country. But they're also raising concerns about municipalities. They accuse the MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, which is Tula Sizwe Buthelezi, of using the department to target ANC-run municipalities. They are making a reference to the issue of Umkhanyakude district municipality, which you will recall that last week had the mayor removed through a vote of no confidence, as well as the council speaker. That municipality was ANC-run, but now IFP-run, who are basically saying that he's using his powers to target these municipalities because he's taking action against all ANC municipalities. But they are raising concerns about municipalities like Umhlathuze. They say the mayor there faces corruption charges. Why is this MEC not intervening? So basically a lot of accusations, a lot of allegations, mainly, that will, as time goes, one needs to also get the right of response from these mentioned parties. But yeah, mainly those are the issues that they are raising. But when we asked as journalists to say, but some of them said departments that are run by ANC MECs also face crisis. The Department of Education, for an example, the nutrition program has been an issue where allegedly ANC affiliates have been benefiting. They say, well, they do not deny the fact that some of the departments which are run by ANC MECs have also been facing a lot of issues. But all they say is that they also want to see equality. They say they want to see the MEC acting on both and not acting on just ANC-run departments or municipalities.
Nkandla, thank you very much. Nkandla Mabaso, EWN reporter at that briefing of the ANC Youth League in KZN.
The motor racing event Cape Town has been waiting for is finally here. Get ready for the Speed Classic Cape Town. Over 140 historic cars, race cars and supercars will compete in a full throttle showcase of motion, sound and style. Experience the ultimate speed test as the legends of yesterday meet the icons of tomorrow. The Speed Classic Cape Town takes place on Philip Khosana Drive on October 25th and 26th. Get your tickets at WebTickets today.
At Anglo American, we mine more than minerals. We mine possibility and progress with purpose. For over a century, we have been part of South Africa's story, investing in our country's potential and unlocking opportunities together. This year alone, through our Kumba iron ore business, we've invested 25.9 billion rand into South Africa. This includes infrastructure development, education and healthcare, community upliftment, and more. Follow us on our social media channels, Anglo American South Africa, and join the conversation. Anglo American, mining potential, building beyond.
Breathe in. Insurance. Breathe out. Pineapple. In. Insurance. Breathe out. Pineapple. Again. In. Insurance. Out. Pineapple. Again. And again.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:49 on the Midday Report with me, Mandy Wiener. There's been this issue over the resolution of the delayed BEI payments. These are the Basic Education Employment Initiative payments. Panyaza Lesufi, the Gauteng Premier, was tweeting about it, and then there was a clapback from the Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Gwahube, about this. So today there's been a joint press briefing by the Department of Employment and Labour and the Department of Basic Education. So these are assistants that work in schools under the Basic Education Employment Initiative Phase 5, and there was a delay in the payment. So some clarity on this now. We're joined by Siviwe Gwahube, the Minister of Basic Education. Minister, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time. Is this matter now resolved?
Good afternoon, Mandy, and good afternoon to your listeners.
I understand.
Yes, it's been a long 5 days of trying to resolve this. I think firstly, Mandy, as I indicated in the press briefing, I mean, I completely understand the profound impact this has had on our teaching assistants, our educator assistants who have not been paid for the month of September, a payment that was meant to get into their accounts at the end of the month. This was due to an administrative issue between ourselves, between Labour, between the UIF and the IDC, who are the actual implementing agents that do the disbursements of funds. And due to this, there was then a delay in payment. And as of today, the monies have been paid to our education assistants. But also I indicated, Mandy, that the administrative processes of government should not in any way inconvenience people who, for all intents and purposes, depend on this money for just the very basic needs. And so I do want there to be consequence management on tightening our processes on our side as basic education to see how best we can make sure that we comply with the requirements of the UIF and employment and labor, and also to make sure that people understand that our actions and inactions have profound impact on the lives of people.
This kind of got a bit heated when Panyaza Lesufi, the Gauteng Premier, blamed the Basic Education Ministry on X for the delayed stipends, saying that you hadn't submitted the correct paperwork. And you, of course, responded saying this is a Department of Labour issue. What was the actual hold-up? What was the glitch or the error or what went wrong?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think the exchange was unfortunate because, as I also indicated today, I think the Premier could have picked up the phone and perhaps called me because this is a very convoluted issue, Mandy, because there are 5 different entities that are involved in this multi-party agreement. DBE is a beneficiary of the program, but it's run by Labour in concert with the UIF and then the IDC. And obviously the strategic partner here being the presidency. So the point I was trying to make to the Premier is that we can't be simplistic and in a public platform and almost reduce this thing to a game blame of saying you are irresponsible for not paying people. One, we don't pay people. We are a beneficiary of this program. Then, of course, if there are issues between us and Labour, we must resolve those. But to be irresponsible by putting those things up on Twitter, when people are frustrated because of their payments haven't been made. And so for me, really, I think the lesson here is I really did try to just focus on finding the solution, and I'm quite glad that Minister Meth and the Deputy Minister Sevilla we were focused on for the past 5 days trying to get all these partners to really get the administrative backlog sorted out so that we can at least have people's money in their accounts.
So I just want to go back to my original question, which was what actually went wrong. The Department of Labour said that your office submitted incomplete supporting documents on time. Is that accurate, or do you know what actually caused this delay in the payments?
Yes, we do know, Mandy. One is that in the first 3 months of this program, the disbursements of funds were done by Treasury. But then there was then a shift in the function where it's being done by UIF. The UIF has particular reporting mechanisms, or they have particular documents that they wanted us to submit. These are registers, attendance registers of all teaching assistants in all our schools. So we had to get those documents in, a requirement that we didn't have in the first 3 months of the program. But the second tranche of the payment, because it's being done differently, has now additional requirements. And so we had to get those in. And there was a delay in getting those attendance registers in to the Department of Labour. Once then that was done, Department of Labour and the UIF and the IDC had to process and verify them. And then that also caused the delay. And then, of course, now we've been able to get this payment done. But what we've done is also to make sure then that the processes is clear, because I think the agreement the contractual agreement between all 5 entities needs to be far more clearer in terms of who needs to do what, by which date, in order for us to make sure that there are no further delays going forward. And that's why I think the steering committee needs to really, really sort that out.
And going forward then, can you give an assurance to these teaching assistants that they will receive their payments on time for October?
Absolutely. So we are working very hard to make sure then that one of our meetings with the UIF is to try and figure out how in advance do they need some of these attendance registers, so that we can have them collected. And we're also engaging schools so that they can understand that there's this additional administrative function that they need to do now to make sure that the education assistants who are there are signing attendance registers so that they can go back to the UIF and to the IDC for payment. So, look, the other thing, Mandy, I think one of the other lessons for me here in this process has been we have to find better ways to digitalize government processes, because the cumbersome nature of having to reels and reels of paper delivered to another department, this is why things can go wrong and will go wrong. And so we have to find simpler ways and safer ways and digitalizing the work of government so that it's a lot quicker and that these administrative
you submit a pile of paper?
Yeah, these are actual physical attendance registers that are signed at each and every school. And so it takes a tremendous amount of time to collect them and essentially then have them verified. And I mean, even the UIF has to then sit and verify, do the ID numbers correlate? And so we have to find a better way of making sure that the admin around this is done better. Because in the other phases too, there were issues. So that's a lesson learned for me, at least.
Minister, thank you very much. Minister of Basic Education, Siviwe Gwarube, speaking to us there about the delay in the stipends for assistant teachers for September. Crazy that we're not digitizing. I mean, this is across all the departments. And you can see the difference that it makes when you do digitize and how necessary it is. Just the idea of how cumbersome that process is. I do understand, but I hope the lessons are learned, because this has a profound impact on the lives of these assistant teachers. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
For news on South African industry and mining, Creamer Media's Engineering News and Mining Weekly has you covered. Click through to Creamer Media's Engineering News each day for the latest on the people and companies shaping the energy transition and South African industry. Keep your finger on the critical minerals pulse by visiting Creamer Media's Mining Weekly. For deeper insight, subscribe to the Engineering News and Mining Weekly magazine, out on Fridays. Creamer Media, current, credible, comprehensive.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a shift worker making his way home and daydreaming about his next career move, his next chapter. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a possible light bulb moment that could change someone's life. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Mandy, this is Cynthia. General Mkwanazi is cut from a rare cloth. I get goosebumps with every word that comes out of his mouth.
Hello, Mandy. Molefe here in Johannesburg. I think the person who can actually challenge both Kenny Kunene and Helen Zille is Fikile Mbalula. They are both talkative. They are both don't want to be to listen. They want to be listened to. They don't want to give any other person a chance to talk. So therefore, they think they know. So let's see how this movie goes along. I can't wait to see the start of this movie. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, there's an idea, hey? SG to SG. see Fikile Mbalula take on Kenny Kunene and Helen Zille. That's a fight I'd love to spectate on. Who's the ANC going to put up as its Joburg mayoral candidate? There's one idea for you. Nkrakram Kwanazi still on the stand at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. Keep listening, keep watching for all of that. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Mkhwanazi describes Mokgotzi's alleged infiltration in police matters as dangerous and did a Phala accused spend R250,000 on grills. Afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. KZN top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says the access that alleged underworld crime boss Brown Mokgotzi has had to police information is infiltration at its highest. Mkhwanazi says this violates the protection of all South African citizens. He has been giving evidence to Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating allegations of police corruption today. Mkhwanazi has alleged on multiple occasions that Mokgotzi is a close associate of Police Minister Senzo Mchunu. Answering questions from MK Party MP David Skosana today, Mkhwanazi had this to say about their alleged relationship.
Because he had claimed to be a politician, the minister himself claimed to be his comrade. I believe when you say comrade, it means he's a member of his political party. Although surprised of late to learn that actually he's not a member of that political party. So I do not know the word comrade where it came from when the minister said he was a comrade. Because it means the minister invited a person who's got no political standing.
The 6 activists from the Global Summit Flotilla have arrived at the OR Tambo International Airport today after days of capture by Israeli forces. The group was part of activists from around the world who had set out to deliver aid to Gaza. This week, the group was released and flew back to the country from Jordan. Khomotso Modise reports from the airport.
The 6 activists from the Global Summit Flotilla have walked into a packed arrivals terminal with big and small Palestinian flags being waved in the air. As they walked through the doors, the crowd erupted in cheers, with loved ones rushing to hold the activists in a long embrace. The grandson of Nelson Mandela, Mandla, who was one of the detainees, has addressed the media, becoming emotional as he recalled the events of the last week.
Let me also acknowledge our donors. Many of us have no resources to see this work through. Yet, with the support of our donors, we were able, as South Africa, to have a boat.
Despite being held hostage and being tortured by Israeli forces, the group remains defiant and adamant to continue supporting the plight of the Palestinians. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the OR Tambo International Airport.
Let's move now to the courts, where a popular dentist has testified in the Phala trial that he was paid more than 250,000 rand to make grills for one of the accused. Grills are removable dental jewellery, usually made with expensive metal like gold or silver. Testifying at the Mudimule